Okay, so now we should be recording. So thanks to everyone for coming, and we look forward to get started today. So just to introduce everyone, so my name is Laura, and I'm an intern doctor in Beaumont Hospital in Dublin, and I'm on the Gecko steering committee, and we have a few other members of the committee here today. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
I'm John, a medical student at the University of Birmingham. I'm also on the steering committee.
Thanks, John.
Hi, sorry, my voice is slightly broken. My name's Alex. I'm one of the doctors based in the Grange University Hospital in South Wales. I'm also on the steering committee for Gecko.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm one of the research fellows at the QE in Birmingham.
Yeah, thanks, Natalie. So to get started on, so just kind of a time summary of where we are at the minute. So as you probably know, so we're now starting our we've just started our data collection period 7. So that started this week, and previous data collection periods have been going well, and we now have over 20,000 patient records entered into REDCap as part of the study, and this has been a really incredible achievement, and we're looking forward to kind of for those numbers to even increase as we go forward. But I suppose now what we're going to talk about more is the follow-up and how we're going to kind of manage going forward in this study, and we can also talk about any queries that you've had during the data collection periods so far. So we just kind of wanted to provide, I suppose, a summary of kind of how this study is overall going to, has been going and is going to work. So as you know, those who initially applied as the role of hospital lead, you register your interest, and then the next step was to apply for local approval. And this could vary depending on the requirements for your center. So it could require that you have audit registration, or it could have required that you submit formal ethical and, say, data protection approval, comply with those requirements. But again, these would vary depending on each centres. So we hope that the majority of centres now do have their ethical approval. And we had said that if it was okay with your centre, that if you're awaiting ethical approval, that it may be possible to collect data on paper forms. So the kind of data collection pro forma, and while you are awaiting that approval, because we would have advised not that we didn't want data to be uploaded to REDCap until ethical approval had been officially granted. So the next step, and sometimes we've had a few issues with kind of technical issues with REDCap. So after the hospital lead registers, the next thing that happens is that the hospital lead will receive an invite link to REDCap to invite them to submit into the different REDCap projects, but this one is the team registration project. And so in that specific REDCap project, there are 2 things that the hospital lead needed to do. So one was to complete the site survey. So this kind of tells us about your center, kind of the number of patients, and gives us helps with our kind of demographic profile of the centers that we will include in the study. And another important thing was to submit the details of data collection or team members for each period that you will be signing up to. So again, it wasn't a requirement for you to sign up to every data collection period. Which periods a hospital lead would sign up for depends on feasibility and practicality at your center. And there was no requirement to sign up to a specific number of periods. But in addition to having put in details of your data collection team, it was also important to put in an independent data validator. So because we want to ensure that the data collection process has been accurate and complete, so it is required that an independent data validator, and when we say independent, it doesn't mean that they have to be based at a different hospital. It just means that they themselves can't have been involved in the data collection period. So it's kind of a third-party person to the direct data collection study team. But practically, it would work better for this data validator to be in the same hospital, because due to local approval issues, it would require further approval if someone from a different hospital was then to apply for access to hospital records if they're not already having access to those records. So we have that it would be someone at the same hospital, but someone that hadn't been directly involved in the study team, and ideally someone who would have a good general knowledge of cholecystectomies, so they can ensure that data collection was accurate and complete. So at the moment, we're in the midst of data collection, and we're coming to the last two periods at the moment. So with each data collection, because we had divided it into 2-week blocks, in each 2-week block, consecutive patients who underwent cholecystectomy meeting the inclusion criteria, data was to be collected on them. And then kind of what we're coming towards now is our follow-up. So with the Gecko study, we have follow-up for 1 year, and then we also have the 30-day follow-up. So with there was a bit of kind of confusion with the follow-up, but we wanted to kind of emphasize that for the follow-up, we weren't requiring that any kind of additions to routine care be made. So for the purposes of follow-up, no additional patient contact would be required, no additional patient appointments would be required, but the purpose of it would be that for each 2-week collection period, we would compile a list of patient IDs for each person who was included in that 2-week data collection period. And then at 30 days, we would then look to follow up each person to in their hospital records to assess if there was any subsequent patient notes in the file for that person. So we're not going to see call the person back in to ask for further details, but we will have to follow up to check the hospital record at the 2-week time period to see if any further entries are made relating to that cholecystectomy. So it is important that we go back and we follow up the patient IDs for each patient that was included for 30 days and 1-year follow-up. It's also important that a list of patient IDs, which would allow you to go back and identify the patient records, would be kept very securely, because that would need to be kept so that the patients can then be followed up. So at 30 days, we ask that if you go back into the patient records, look for any post-op complications or any specific incidents related to the cholecystectomy arose in that period. And then at the 1-year follow-up, we'll again ask you to do the same, go back to the patient record, look for any in the hospital notes or any letters from other hospitals regarding any potential identification of any gallbladder injury or any carcinoma following in the subsequent 1 year. But it's not required that you bring the patient in for further follow-up if no evidence of follow-up is available. If there's no evidence of follow-up in the chart, we assume that the procedure was uncomplicated and that the post-op complications that could have arose did not occur if there's no evidence of this in the chart. So that's our overall summary of how things are working. So we also, because we need to kind of ensure that the study moves along, we have set some provisional deadlines for RegCap data upload. So for the data collection period 1 to 4, our provisional deadline for having your initial data upload from the 2-week period is the 6th of November. I know some people have been entering data into RegCap as we go along, but for those who are awaiting ethical approval and who've been uploading, taking their data on paper forms, this would be when we would, I suppose, lock the 2-week data set, so you won't be able to upload any further data. So it's important that for periods 1 to 4, that your 2-week data collection is uploaded before the 6th of November. And then for data collection periods 5 and 6, it's slightly later. So it's the 4th of December when we would expect that you would have all the records from the 2-week not the follow-up, uploaded to REDCap. So this is the 4th of December. And then data collection periods 7 and 8, we would expect, we would ask that the follow-up is the 2-week details from the initial 2-week period is uploaded by the 15th of January, because after this date, it won't be possible to enter in any further data. And this only includes data from the 2-week period. It doesn't include the 30-day follow-up, and of course, it doesn't include the 1-year follow-up. So again, kind of similar to the diagram we had slides previous. So we have kind of overall hospital lead targets. Kind of went through some of these, and regarding registration and kind of creating a team of data collectors and completing on REDCap site survey, mini team application portal. And we can see here that this is just kind of a snippet from REDCap that just shows the 2 things that need to be completed as part of the team registration project on REDCap. And then of course there's a separate data collection project on REDCap for you to upload patient details. So we have come across some issues with patient logins, with collaborator logins, and we apologize for these issues. There have been some technical issues at the start. If you have not received your REDCap logins, so as a hospital lead, if you haven't received your REDCap logins to the initially, then please email us because you should have received it to the team registration project. And then if the hospital lead has entered in the details of their data collectors, and if those data collectors don't receive their logins before the study period, then you should get in contact with us as well, and we will try and fix that issue for you as soon as possible. So also quite a good resource is our Gecko study homepage, where we will have all our latest so documents or anything that certain hospital centres may have requested for the study. So it will include the study protocol, the data dictionary, which just kind of provides a dictionary of terms that might be necessary or definitions for use in the study. And it also includes the hospital lead, so a dedicated pack, kind of a Word document to answer any common queries for hospital leads, and it also includes one similar version for data collectors. And we also have details on documents that may be required for study site approval in various countries. So again, just to kind of emphasize the 30-day and 1-year follow-up. So follow-up for the study, again, routine clinical practice only. No changes to routine management could be made. And again, so at the 30-day and 12-month follow-up, we're going to go back to the patient file of everyone from each period, and then we're going to check if there's any subsequent complications, diagnoses. If not, we assume the procedure was uncomplicated. Well, in the event that, say, for example, they went to then a different hospital and they found to have a complication, it would generally be typical that the hospital that performed the index cholecystectomy would be sent a letter or would receive documentation regarding any admissions to other hospitals. So we do not require you to contact other hospitals regarding this. And so again, if no complications or post-op course was recorded in the follow-up, we can assume it was uncomplicated. And the main role of the 1-year follow-up is that we check back in the records of each patient to see, was there any patients that do have documentation that they subsequently had an identified gallbladder injury or a carcinoma. So we have compiled a kind of frequently asked question guide, which we can share in the chat, and kind of includes some of the general frequently asked questions that we've had so far. And some of these to the start of the study than where we are at the moment, but be helpful for everyone to review. And again, these are some of the common questions that we have received. So which again, it's not expected that anything other than routine care is done as part of the study. And of course, all those included in the study will receive collaborative authorship. So we can share our frequently asked questions document in the chat. And we also have a YouTube channel where we will upload any webinars such as this one, so that you can watch back in your own time. And we understand that it's not always possible to attend and that the timings may not suit, so that we'll have all our kind of guides uploaded to our YouTube channel, and recordings of any previous webinars or kind of information sessions will be uploaded there. So that is kind of the summary of what I wanted to go through. So I'm happy to take any questions, and if anyone else from the committee has had any questions so far, you can type your message into the chat, or you can unmute yourself, and we'd be happy to take any questions. Or if anything that we went over, anything say regarding follow-up, or and we will, of course, just to go back to the slide regarding the provisional deadlines for REDCap data upload. We will, of course, be sharing these very much in advance and reminding you of these. And if there's any issues with meeting these deadlines, please do let us know, and we will try to accommodate this as much as possible. So again, if anyone has any questions, you can type them into the chat or unmute yourselves if you'd like.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Yes, I'm Daisuke Hashimoto from Kansai Medical University, Japan.
Oh, nice
So
to
I
meet
have
you.
just
Thanks for attending.
I have no question, but just a comment. So congratulations for your great achievements for a big number of patients already.
Yeah, we're delighted.
So, oh,
and,
yes. I have just one question. So do you have any plan for the publication of this study?
Yeah, we do plan to so publish a study. We are hoping at the moment we have submitted the protocol. I'm not sure which manuscript it has been submitted to, but it has been submitted, and we are waiting to hear the outcome for that. But yes, we would the publication we will most likely be waiting until we have completed the 1-year follow-up before the publication will be done. But yes, we will be publishing the data, and everyone, all the so national leads, hospital leads, and collaborators and data validators will receive collaborative authorship on that. And yeah, that will we will definitely be doing that once we have kind of completed the 1-year follow-up and the data validation process. The results will be published, and we hope that this will kind of help to provide kind of more info on kind of the global picture in cholecystectomy.
Okay, I got it. So I'm very looking for the results, hearing from you.
Yeah, yeah, we're looking forward to seeing the results. We may be in a position to kind of share as we go along some of the more preliminary results, but this might not be possible, as we'll have to kind of validate the data once we have everything collected. But yeah, we're definitely looking forward to seeing the results and kind of publishing it once we have everything completed. And thanks so much to everyone. It wouldn't have been possible without kind of all the centers, and we're really delighted to see the number of patients that we have included so far.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. So I think someone just had a question on the data validation. So what I might just do is go on to the GlobalSurg website, and you can just have a look at the protocol. So this is our kind of homepage for the study. So if you're looking for any kind of documents, this will be where we have everything included. So study design, I should have our documents here. So if you go into the protocol, then we can look for our data validation on page 11. So so the data validation performed by the independent data validator will be performed after the 2-week data collection period has occurred. And the need for this is to ensure that all consecutive patients were actually identified and included, and to ensure that the data was accurate. So this will ensure that our records are as accurate as possible. And someone also mentioned a question regarding data collaborators. Yes, it is still possible to recruit data collectors. And also, because this study involves 1-year follow-up, and that often people may move to a different hospital within the time course of a year, we will make it an option that you can actually recruit additional data collectors at before the start of the 1-year follow-up period, because we understand that often people may be moving to different hospitals, and we want to help facilitate the 1-year follow-up period as much as possible. So yes, that will be possible. So if anyone has any other questions, you can put them into the chat, or unmute yourself if you'd like to ask. If we have no further questions, we might end the session now. We do also have another session. So someone has mentioned that REDCap won't allow you to register collaborators. So with REDCap, so the first on the team registration project, the first thing that you have to is the site survey, and then it's the registration of collaborators is on the next one. I don't have a sample one to show you at the moment, but if you're having access to the forums to I'll just go to that. So on REDCap, under the team registration project, the mini team application portal is where you'll be able to register your team of data collectors as a hospital lead. And you will also have to complete the site survey with details of your center. So if you have received detailed logins for REDCap as a hospital lead, log into this project, which is the team registration project, will be the first login that you receive. So in that project, there on the side, there should be a thing about the mini team application portal and the site survey. If you're not having access to those and you still can't, then let us know, because that would be a technical issue and we can help with that. So we have our email is on the so Gecko at globalsurg.org is our email address, and let us know if you're having specific issue with that, because you should on the team registration project have access to the mini team application portal, where you can enter in your data collectors for each block, and also your site survey where you can enter details of your hospital and kind of demographic details that would be relevant to the study. So someone asked a question regarding the 1-year follow-up if they attend a different hospital. So because with this, so the 2-week data collection period, if all the patients are undergoing their index cholecystectomy in the hospital that you're working at, and it would be routine that if someone developed a complication at a different site, that they would then kind of details to the index hospital, and it would be routine that there would have been communication between the hospital they subsequently presented at and the hospital from the index cholecystectomy. So we would expect that typically it would be very unlikely that, say, if they presented at a subsequent hospital, that the index or initial hospital wasn't informed or contacted in any way. So that is how we are hoping to, we plan to account for that. So we had a question regarding the data validators. So I'm not 100% if the logins for the data validators have been issued so far. And I'll have to confirm with the RedCap team. But if the logins have been received, it will be possible then, of course, to validate the data from periods 1 to 4 or any period that has been finished to validate that 2-week data. But I can just confirm with the other members of the team regarding when data validator logins will be issued. It's possible that they may be all issued at the end of the study, but I will just have to double check that and confirm, and I can let everyone know in the WhatsApp group chats. Does anyone have any further questions or any questions that they feel perhaps they would like more clarity regarding? Okay, well, we might end the session, I thought, and we do have another session at 5 p.m. to kind of accommodate, might be based in different time zones. But thank you to everyone for coming. And as always, you can email us with any concerns at gecko@globalsurg.org. And thanks so much for all your work with the study so far. And we look forward to seeing the results and hopefully having more patients adding to that 20,000 number. And just to clarify on one question, the data is to be the data is to be uploaded before the data validator. The data validate the data once it has already been uploaded. So you can proceed with data validation. You can proceed with uploading the data, and the data validation is to be done afterwards. So the data validator, you can still enter the data, and the data validation process will be separate in addition to that. That's how we will share, of course, more details of that in due course, but you don't need to await for the data to be validated before you upload your initial data for the study. So that's no problem. I won't keep everyone any longer. Thanks to everyone for coming, and please do email us if you have any concerns, and you're more than welcome to attend our 5 p.m. session, but we will be going over similar things, much the same content. And so So just regarding any minimum requirements, so there's no minimum requirement for the number of data collectors. It would just be required that at least one data collector register for each period. But there's no minimum requirement for the number of data collectors, and that doesn't affect collaborative authorship. So yeah, if anyone has any further questions, please do email us. And thanks to everyone for coming today, and enjoy the rest of your day or evening, depending on where you're based. So we can end the session there. Thank you, everyone.